Hello, everybody, and welcome to. Wait, hold on just 1 second. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quarantine Art with Miss Mitchell. I told you the other day that one of my all-time favorite things to do is to rip paper, and we're going to get to do plenty of that today as we make our very own ripped paper flowers. Let me show you how we're going to do it. I was feeling like our last couple of projects were very precise and detailed, which is great, but today I thought we'd get back to basics with a ripped paper collage. All you're going to need today is paper and glue. You will need one large sheet of paper to use as your background, but everything else you can just use scraps in 5 or 6 different colors. And you will need some glue. Gooey glue is preferable for this project, but if you have a glue stick, you can make that work too. You might also want a pencil if you want to sketch out your design before you get started. I'm going to go ahead and sketch out my design so I can give you a couple of tips. If you make a little mark in the middle of your page at about the halfway point between the bottom of your paper and the top, holding it vertically or hot dog style, make a little mark at halfway. That's as far up as you want your flower vase to go. That way we still have this top half of our paper to fill up with our beautiful flowers. And then halfway between the bottom of your page and that halfway mark, make another little mark. That's your quarter of a page, and that's as high up as you want your table paper to go. That way you can see that your vase is sitting on something, but it's not taking up too much of our space. Okay, next I'm going to draw my table, which from this little mark that you made, you can just extend it each way, straight as you can, and make your table. And then remember, this halfway mark is the top of your vase right here. You don't have to do the same shape that I did. It could be square or triangular or whatever you want. I think I'm going to make a nice wide mouth at the top for all my beautiful flowers to hang out. But then I'm going to bring it in a little bit here and then make a big fishbowl shape on the bottom. Woohoo. Now you'll notice my vase overlaps my table a little bit. And that's just a cool trick to make it look like it's really sitting on the table, like it's right in the foreground. All right, I'm gonna then sketch a few stems for my flowers because I wanna make sure I can fit them all in. Let's see, I fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks like a pretty good amount for this size paper. So I'm gonna draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And see, if you make them all a little bit different lengths, then there's more room for all of your flowers to fit in because one of them can go here, and here, and here, and here, and here. So they're a little staggered. So go ahead and do that. Draw a circle at the top of each of your stems so you know the area you need to fill in for your flower. Oh boy, it's finally time for my very favorite part, which is ripping paper. You're gonna first choose a color that you wanna use for your table. Table goes first, and we're gonna rip it into nice little strips, kind of like we did the other day with our mixed media cupcakes. And I'm gonna keep them all together, not make a big mess. Construction paper works great for this. It rips really nicely. You're just gonna get a little stack of strips going for yourself. Paper strip stockpile. Now you have this fun, rough texture on the side that's gonna make our picture very animated and really cool looking. So then you're gonna take your paper strip stockpile, stack it up, and you can rip these strips 2 or 3 at a time, and you're just gonna rip them up into little squares, and again, keep them together in their own little pile. Aha, I think I'm gonna need a few more. Rip the next stack. Okay, and then what's great about this is if you have gooey glue, you're gonna just glue directly onto your paper. As long as your glue doesn't have a booger. And you're gonna do the dot, dot, not a lot. This does not take a ton of glue. And you can kind of just outline the shape of your table like this with your little dot dots. And then one by one, you're gonna take your papers and lay them down on that little dot of glue and overlap them just a little bit. Again, kind of like we did with our cupcakes. Overlap them a little bit. You shouldn't see any of this yellow paper through, or that would mean there was a hole in your table. That's no good. Just stick them all around the edge, and you're gonna fill in this entire table area with your table color. Are you beginning to love ripping paper as much as I do? I sure hope so. So you'll notice a couple of my paper squares are dangling over the edge and they look a little rough. No problem, you can flip it over and just trim that extra off from the back side. Like so. Looks pretty good. And then also, I told you I wasn't going to use very much glue, so take a look now that we've done our first step, and you're not really seeing any glue on the front of my table, maybe a tiny bit right there. But if you see a bunch of shiny spots or glue smushing out from underneath your paper, that means you're using a little too much glue. So now when we move on to our next step, just make sure you're saying to yourself, dot, dot, not a lot. Even your dots are going to be really small. So next we're going to choose a color for our vase, and we're going to do the exact same thing. I have this beautiful blue, and I'm just going to rip it into strips, a little bit smaller because my paper was smaller. Make your paper strip stockpile, and then rip your strips into squares, keeping them all together. I love this color. And then same thing, you can just dot dot around the edge of your vase, and then fill it all in. Okay, if I'm being really honest with myself, I know that not everyone likes ripping paper as much as I do. And there's probably some of you wondering, can't we just cut the paper? And my answer is this: yes. You can. It will just give you a different look. This looks kind of painterly and really free and flowy. And if you choose to cut the paper, you would follow the same basic steps. You'd cut a strip, and then you'd cut your strips into squares and stick them on. Just a little less painterly. It'll give you more of a Minecraft look. Yes, I know what Minecraft is. I'm hip. I'm with it. Okay, so it's just a little bit different look, but if you're stressing over ripping paper, go ahead and cut it if you'd like. I, again, love to rip paper, so I'm going to continue on ripping my green for my flower stems. You don't have to use green. This does not have to be a realistic picture at all. You can use any old color you want. Gonna rip some strips. Rip your strips into squares. And you're still gonna be overlapping, but you're gonna just go straight up with your squares. Like this. Doop, 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 doop. Dot, dot, not a lot. You can kind of tuck it underneath your vase a little bit. Overlap, but put one in front of the other. All the way up to the circle that you drew for your flower. All right, you can go ahead and do the other 4. And now we're ready to make our beautiful flowers. As you probably noticed on my example here, these are not going to be the type of flowers that have perfectly outlined petals, right? They're going to be a little looser. And you're going to grab your flower color. Surprisingly, I think I'm going to choose white. Normally I like everything to be very colorful, but I'm going to go with white. Sounds pretty. And same story, rip your strips into squares, and then you're just going to hop around the shape of your flower. And you can change the shape of the petals a little bit. They don't have to be a perfect circle. When you get up to one of your dots, you can make your paper stick out a little bit like that. Just put your paper long ways, or rip your squares in half into skinnier rectangles. Okay, so you can kind of see the petals. Just know that they're not going to be perfect outlines. I love this look. It's very relaxing. All right, and then if you want to have a different color in the center, maybe your flower has a middle part, same thing, just choose a different color, add a little bit more glue, and put black in the center. Might need to rip these a little bit smaller to get around your smaller circle. Oh, I it. Amazing. All your flowers also can be different colors, whatever you think. You can go ahead and make the other 4. All right, I'm obsessed. That looks amazing. And what a spectacular gift that you could give to someone in your household that you love and be like, yo, I got you flowers. And they'll be like, what? We can't even leave the house. How did you get me flowers? And you'll be like, boom, baby, look at this masterpiece. What did the bee say to the flower? I love you, honey. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to see the featured kid art of the week. I'll see you then.